The most lethal and destructive bomber, the B-52J, has just been tested and is ready to be deployed. The U.S. is gearing up for a secret mission, preparing its most destructive military arsenals for this purpose. This long-range strategic bomber is designed with the ability to fly for extended periods and drop free-fall bombs or launch cruise missiles with shocking precision. The B-52J, the successor of the B-36, is a technological marvel that has earned the fear of other nations. What is the significant difference between the B-52J and the B-36? What secret mission is the U.S. preparing for? Join us as we explore the destructive capabilities of the new B-52J bomber that the U.S. is preparing for its secret mission. Russia indeed has a reason to be scared if the United States plans to deploy the extremely lethal and destructive B-52J to its region, and here's why. The Boeing B-52, also known as stratofortress, is a big American bomber that can fly for long durations without going too fast. Designed and continually updated by Boeing, it can carry up to 70,000 lbs of bombs and fly about 8,800 miles without needing more fuel, which is simply amazing. Since winning the contract bid in June 1962, the B-52's design has evolved significantly. This bomber started with 6 turboprop engines in a straight wing, but ended up with 8 turbojet engines and swept-back wings in the final prototype, B-52. Its first flight was in April 1952, and it has been used by the Air Force since 1955 and by NASA from 1959 to 2007. Originally made to carry nuclear weapons during the Cold War, it replaced the Convair B-36 Peacemaker. Despite the development of newer, faster bombers like the Convair B-58 Hustler and the North American XB-70, the B-52 remained in use due to its cost-effective operation and fast flying capabilities. It has seen action in many wars, but it has only dropped conventional bombs, not nuclear ones. Its predecessor, the B-36, was the first bomber capable of carrying any nuclear bomb in the U.S. arsenal without modifications. The B-36 could also fly up to 10,000 miles and carry a maximum load of 87,000 lbs without refueling. Known as the Peacemaker, this large bomber was used by the United States Air Force from 1942 to 1959. It remains the largest piston-engine plane ever made and has the widest wingspan of any combat plane at 233 feet. Becoming operational in 1948, the B-36 was the primary nuclear bomber for Strategic Air Command until the jet-powered B-52 Stratofortress replaced it in 1955. Almost all B-36 planes have been destroyed, with only 4 remaining. Despite its large size, the B-36 was more maneuverable at high altitudes, even more so than the U.S. Air Force jet interceptors of the time, which often stalled above 40,000 feet. However, the United States Navy claimed their McDonnell F-2H Banshee could intercept the B-36 at over 50,000 feet, a claim never confirmed due to the Air Force's refusal to test it. The B-36's propulsion system was unique, featuring 6 28-cylinder radial engines in a pusher configuration, later versions adding 4 jet engines for enhanced maneuverability at high altitudes. This configuration, while avoiding turbulence over the wings, could cause engine overheating and fires. The B-36's slow-turning propellers created a distinct low-frequency sound audible from the ground. As the successor to this formidable bomber, the B-52J is even better and more lethal. However, it shares many design elements with the earlier B-47 Stratojet, including swept wings and jet engines mounted in pods. The B-52D variant featured upward ejection for pilots and ECM operators, while the lower deck crew ejected downwards until the B-52G model, where the gunner had to jettison the tail gun for escape. Flying the B-52 at low altitudes caused the aircraft structure to wear out 8 times faster than at high altitudes, leading to costly repairs. The early 1960s saw the initiation of a high-stress program to address these issues, followed by a 2,000-hour service life extension in the late 1960s and the Pacer plank reskinning in 1977. The B-52G and H model's wet wings wore out 60% faster and were modified in 1964. Additional modifications included fuselage and wing replacements in the mid-1960s and the Stability Augmentation and Flight Control Program in 1967. Fuel leaks due to failing Marmon clamps were a recurring problem, so various programs like Blue Band, Hard Shell, and Quick Clip added safety straps to prevent major fuel loss. The B-52 can officially fly up to 50,000 feet, but typically flies at 43,000 feet on combat missions for better range. In September 2006, the B-52 became one of the first U.S. military planes to use alternative fuel, taking off from Edwards Air Force Base with a mix of 50% synthetic fuel and 50% regular JP-8 jet fuel, burning this mix in 2 of its 8 engines. By December 2006, a B-52 flew with synthetic fuel powering all 8 engines for the first time. The 7-hour flight was successful, part of the Department of Defense's Assured Fuel Initiative, aiming to reduce crude oil use and get half of its aviation fuel from alternative sources by 2016. In August 2007, U.S. Air Force Secretary Michael Wynne certified that the B-52H was fully approved to use the synthetic fuel blend. Due to the B-52's mission requirements, it performs modest maneuvers and doesn't require spin recovery. The aircraft has a small, narrow rudder, limiting yaw control. Initially, an all-moving vertical stabilizer was planned, but dropped due to hydraulic reliability concerns. With 8 engines, losing one in flight is minimal and corrected with the narrow rudder. For crosswind takeoffs and landings, the main landing gear can pivot 20 degrees to either side. The B-52's elevator, like the rudder, is also narrow, limiting long-term pitch adjustments and changes in airspeed. The aircraft uses an all-moving tail or stabilator, with the elevator making small adjustments within the stabilator setting. The stabilator can move up to 13 degrees, crucial during takeoff and landing due to significant pitch changes from using flaps. The B-52 variants before the G models had very small ailerons for feedback and fine-tuning roll during precise maneuvers like aerial refueling. Due to the thin main wing's tendency to twist, traditional ailerons couldn't be used effectively. Instead, 6 spoilerons on each wing handled most roll control. The late B-52G models removed the ailerons entirely, adding an extra spoileron to each wing. Without ailerons, the B-52G and H models were more prone to Dutch roll. The Jolly Well program, concluded in 1964, fixed ongoing avionics system problems by improving parts of the AN/ASQ-38 bombing navigation computer and the terrain computer. By 1965, most aircraft received the MADREC upgrade, detecting failures in avionics and weapons computer systems, crucial for monitoring the AGM-28 Hound Dog missiles. The B-52's electronic countermeasures were enhanced with the Rivet Rambler program in 1971 and Rivet Ace in 1973 to improve low-altitude operations. The AN/ASQ-151 electro-optical viewing system was added to B-52Gs and Hs between 1972 and 1976, including a low-light level television and a forward-looking infrared system mounted under the nose. In the 1980s, the B-52's navigation capabilities were further enhanced with GPS. The main computer for the B-52 was the IBM AP-101, also used on the Rockwell B-1 Lancer bomber and the Space Shuttle. In 2007, the B-52 was equipped with a lightning targeting pod, enhancing its ability to attack ground targets with various standoff weapons. This pod uses laser guidance, a high-resolution forward-looking infrared sensor, and a CCD camera to capture target images. Lightning pods are also used on other U.S. aircraft like the F/A-18 Hornet, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and AV-8B Harrier II. Starting in 1984, the B-52G and H models were modified to carry up to 20 AGM-69 SRAM nuclear missiles to enhance its offensive capabilities further. After testing the Boeing AGM-86 and General Dynamics AGM-109 Tomahawk, the AGM-86B was chosen for the B-52 and later the B-1 Lancer. A total of 194 B-52Gs and Hs were modified to carry 12 AGM-86 missiles on underwing pylons, with 8 B-52Hs further modified to carry another 8 missiles on a rotary launcher in the bomb bay. To meet SALT II treaty requirements, cruise missile-armed B-52Gs got a distinctive wing route fairing for easy identification by reconnaissance satellites, while B-52Hs didn't need visual changes. In 1990, the stealthy AGM-129 ACM cruise missile entered service, intended to replace the AGM-86, but only 450 were produced due to high costs and the Cold War's end. With no conventional version made, the B-52 was also supposed to use the AGM-137 TSSAM missile, but this was canceled due to development costs. The B-52Gs not converted to carry cruise missiles were upgraded for better conventional bombing.